Ukraine, 2025. The world has already seen war, crisis, and upheaval, but nothing could prepare the world for this. 100,000 zombies advancing through the streets of Ukraine. Imagine a mindless horde, hungry, relentless, and completely unstoppable. It's not a movie. It's not a drill. It's happening right now. But here's the twist. Ukraine's military isn't exactly in top form. After years of conflict, the Ukrainian army is still in the process of rebuilding. Their resources are limited, their morale is low, and their soldiers are tired. But when faced with an army of the dead, can they really afford to be weak? Can they survive the ultimate test? The first question on everyone's mind: can Ukraine's army survive 100,000 zombies? You might think it's impossible. After all, zombies don't follow conventional tactics, and they certainly don't care about borders or military strategy. But here's where things get interesting. Modern military tech might just be the edge they need. Before you start laughing, think about it. Drones, precision weapons, and guerrilla tactics, things we've never seen before in a zombie apocalypse, could make all the difference. The army might be down, but it's not out. The question remains, how can they fight something they can't even negotiate with? Stick around, because we're diving deep into how Ukraine could face this nightmare head-on. But first, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next part of this crazy scenario. Let's take a step back and talk about the Ukrainian army. It's not exactly the well-oiled, battle-hardened machine you might expect when facing 100,000 zombies. In fact, the Ukrainian military is in a rebuilding phase after years of conflict. Their resources are stretched thin, their equipment is outdated, and the soldiers, well, they're tired, to say the least. Imagine a soldier who's been through too many battles, has a rifle that's seen better days, and is just trying to keep his boots from falling apart. It's not exactly the elite force you'd want leading a charge against a horde of undead. But don't count them out just yet. Sure, they might not have the same firepower as, say, NATO forces or a modern superpower, but they've got something else: resilience. The kind of resilience only forged in years of struggle. And in the world of zombies, resilience might just be the secret weapon. But let's be honest here. The reality is, the army is still recovering. They've got a few shiny drones, some cutting-edge military tech, but not nearly enough to keep up with the massive zombie apocalypse storming their way. So how do you beat an enemy that never sleeps, doesn't negotiate, and just keeps coming? In the face of overwhelming odds, the Ukrainian military might have to get creative. But creativity alone won't save them. They need more than just improvised traps and drones. They need a miracle. Now that we know the Ukrainian army isn't exactly in prime fighting shape, let's take a closer look at their immediate challenges when facing a zombie apocalypse. Spoiler: it's not just about fighting off 100,000 zombies. Oh no, it's way worse than that. First of all, logistics. Zombies don't care about supply chains. No matter how many MREs, meals ready to eat, you have, you can't outlast an enemy that doesn't sleep and doesn't need food. And even worse, Ukraine's infrastructure isn't exactly top-notch right now. Roads are destroyed, communication lines are cut off, and those drones they have, they need constant recharging. And there's no time for recharging when the undead are closing in. Then there's the problem of morale. You think soldiers are stressed out by fighting actual enemies? Try fighting something that doesn't feel fear, doesn't retreat, and doesn't care if you run out of ammo. Zombies don't negotiate. They just keep coming. The Ukrainian soldiers might be tough, but they've been through hell, and now they're staring down an apocalypse where even the best strategies might not work. And then there's the weaponry. Sure, they have a mix of modern military tech, drones, anti-tank missiles, and some relatively advanced weaponry, but let's face it, there's no gadget in the world that's going to help them against 100,000 zombies without a solid plan. The only thing that could give them an edge? Their ability to use what's around them, creativity, and maybe a whole lot of luck. It's not going to be pretty, but with no other option, this is what they've got. Creativity, guts, and maybe just a little bit of zombie-slaying magic. All right, so the Ukrainian military has a big problem. 100,000 zombies coming their way, and not exactly an overwhelming number of resources. What do? Panic? Hide in bunkers and hope for the best? Or maybe, just maybe, get creative and hope for a miracle. The first step in any crisis is always planning, right? But when you're facing zombies, your usual military strategies might need a little tweaking. Fortify the capital? Good idea, except there are no functional roads leading in or out of Kyiv. Hold out in a secure base? Sure, if you want to have 100,000 zombies knocking at your door in a few hours, no big deal. So what's left? Well, guerrilla tactics could be their best bet. They've fought in urban areas before, and zombies don't exactly follow the rules. No strict formation, no fancy drills. They can't rely on traditional military procedures. Instead, it's all about using the terrain to their advantage. Think of it like a really twisted game of hide and seek. Only the seekers are a horde of undead with no off switch. First, they need to separate the zombies. No one wants to deal with 100,000 zombies in one massive, endless wave. Breaking them up into smaller, more manageable groups is key. This might mean decoy trails, fake retreats, and even creating noise distractions. Maybe they can trick a few zombies into walking into an open minefield. Sounds crazy, but who says it's not worth trying? Then, there's the weaponry issue. Sure, you've got some high-tech gear, but there's no amount of rocket launchers that can stop a horde unless you have the proper strategic advantage. The idea is to trap them, outlast them, and make every shot count. Because in this war, you don't have the luxury of reloading and resting. It's not much, but in a world of zombies, it might just be enough to give them a fighting chance. Now the question is, can they survive long enough to turn the tide? So what do? Guerrilla tactics. The name of the game is hit and run, confuse them, and use the terrain to your advantage. Imagine a group of Ukrainian soldiers moving through the streets of Kyiv, hiding behind walls, under vehicles, and using decoys to lure zombies into traps. Sound crazy? Well, it might be the only option they've got. First, they set up a fake retreat. A couple of soldiers run in one direction, leaving a trail of noise and confusion. Zombies follow the scent of fresh flesh, and before they know it, they're walking straight into an ambush. The seal-like precision of a landmine trap triggers. And boom, 20 zombies down in an instant. Not bad, right? Then the secret weapon, fire trucks. Sure, they're meant for putting out fires, but why not use them to spray flammable liquids and create massive fire barriers? Fire is a great deterrent, and as long as it doesn't spread too fast, it can be used to herd zombies into certain areas. Plus, the sight of a fire truck running through the streets blasting flammable liquid has to be a sight to behold. But let's be honest, zombies aren't easily fooled. They're relentless, mindless, and will never stop coming. So, even if these creative guerrilla tactics work temporarily, there's still the question. Can the Ukrainian army keep this up long enough to make a real dent in the zombie horde? The real question is, will they run out of tricks before they run out of time? The time has come. The first big confrontation with the zombies is inevitable. The Ukrainian army, now equipped with makeshift traps, drones, and their trusty fire trucks, stands at the ready. But they've never fought anything like this before. 100,000 zombies aren't just going to fall over with one well-placed shot. No, these things just keep coming, and they don't stop. The strategy? Hit them hard, hit them fast, and then disappear into the night like ghosts. It's not about standing your ground, it's about survival. The first wave of zombies comes crashing through the streets of Kyiv. The Ukrainian soldiers are waiting, crouched behind debris, their weapons at the ready. Boom! A mine goes off. A group of zombies is sent flying in every direction. A few soldiers pop up, firing off shots from suppressors. The zombies take a few steps, stumble forward, and collapse. It works, but not for long. For every zombie they take down, 2 more seem to take its place. That's when the fire trucks make their grand entrance. The Ukrainian army unleashes a stream of flaming liquid, creating a wall of fire that holds back the zombies. The streetlights flicker in the distance, and the air smells like burning rubber and desperation. But hey, it's working. The zombies are stopped in their tracks. But then, the unexpected happens. A few zombies get stuck. They start to migrate toward the fire truck, thinking it's a snack truck or something. A zombie horde chasing a fire truck. It's like a scene from a movie, except this is real, and it's happening right now. The soldiers watch, half amused, half horrified, as the first true confrontation unfolds. The tactics are holding up, but for how long? The zombies keep coming, and they don't have the luxury of resting. The night is far from over. The initial wave of zombies has been dealt with, but the reality is starting to sink in. The Ukrainian soldiers have managed to hold the line for a while, but there's a huge problem. They're running out of everything. Ammo, getting scarce. Fuel for the fire trucks, barely enough for one more round. MREs? You guessed it. They're down to the last few, and let's face it, no one really loves those mystery meals anyway. The guerrilla tactics were working, but only for a while. The zombie hordes keep coming, and with every victory, the Ukrainian military is realizing just how unsustainable this fight really is. What's worse, they can't even rely on backup. Communication lines are down, there are no reinforcements, and the zombies aren't exactly playing fair. They just keep coming. Now, the soldiers are facing a new enemy, fatigue. They've been fighting non-stop for days, with no time to rest, and their bodies are feeling the burn. One soldier stumbles, exhausted, and asks if it's possible to just let the zombies take a break for a while. Another cracks a joke about zombie yoga to try and lighten the mood. It's a desperate situation, but hey, a little humor never hurt anyone, right? Meanwhile, the fire trucks have run out of fuel, and the zombies have started to figure out the game. They're getting smarter, bypassing traps and finding their way into the most fortified positions. The walls they built aren't as strong as they thought. The drones are starting to glitch. The night vision goggles are running low on batteries, and the exhausted soldiers are now forced to rely on their wits rather than their weapons. It's becoming clear that even the best strategies might not be enough to stop this endless horde. The pressure is mounting, and with every passing hour, the soldiers are questioning, will they run out of tricks before the zombies run out of energy? As the zombies keep coming, the Ukrainian army is starting to realize they can't just keep running old tricks forever. They've run out of gas, ammo, and patience. But you know what they say, when life gives you zombies, make zombie-slaying lemonade. Or at least, that's what they're hoping for. The first major shift in strategy comes when they realize that fighting zombies head-on isn't going to work. Their weapons might be good, but they can't keep up with the endless waves. So what's their next move? Diversion and psychological warfare. They've got to get creative. So they start making use of loudspeakers to broadcast weird, confusing sounds into the streets, everything from old pop music to a recording of a cat meowing. The zombies, being mindless, aren't sure what to make of it. The horde starts getting confused, wandering aimlessly toward the sounds, distracted and disoriented. It's not much, but it works for a little while. Then comes the unlikeliest weapon, a herd of cows. Yep, you read that right. The soldiers manage to corral a herd of cows into an abandoned street where they release a cloud of smelly gas to create a natural roadblock. The cows, clearly not caring about the apocalypse, are left to wander through the zombie-filled streets, pushing the horde into dead ends. Zombies get stuck chasing mooing cows, and the soldiers just stand back and watch, almost in disbelief that this is their battle strategy. Meanwhile, with the zombies distracted by farm animals and weird sounds, the soldiers start setting up more defenses. They reinforce their makeshift barricades, set up new traps, and create false retreats to keep the zombies on the move. Every new trick is a gamble, but in a world full of the dead, what do they really have to lose? They're playing their cards, and the odds might be stacked against them, but at least they're not going down without a laugh. Against all odds, the Ukrainian army is still standing, but the zombies aren't giving up. With their traps running low and ammunition nearly gone, the soldiers know that their only option now is to go all in. It's time for the final push. What's left? One last Hail Mary. They've set up decoy barricades in the middle of an open street, just waiting for the horde to fall into their trap. The zombies are relentless, mindlessly stumbling toward anything that smells like human flesh. Perfect. The soldiers, now using their last bit of military ingenuity, camouflage themselves and set a massive trap line of explosives along a strategic route. The goal? Lead the zombies into a kill zone where they can set off everything at once. But there's one problem. The zombies are moving faster than expected. They're catching up to the soldiers' plan faster than they can react. The tension builds as the first few zombies hit the tripwires. Boom! The earth shakes. The explosion sends a shockwave of dust and debris, and for a second, the soldiers think they've done it. But then they look up and see it. More zombies, streaming from the horizon like an unstoppable wave. The numbers seem impossible. They've barely put a dent in them. But wait, the next phase of the plan is in motion. The fire trucks come back into play, this time with a new twist. The soldiers use them to create a wall of fire, forcing the zombies into narrow alleys. Then they release their last line of defense, electricity. They've rigged the entire street with high-voltage wires, and when the zombies get too close, the streets light up with an electric surge that fries their undead brains. The plan might not have been perfect, but it's working. The zombies are slowed, the barricades hold, and the soldiers finally begin to push them back. It's a long shot, but after everything they've been through, they might actually have a chance to survive this nightmare. After what feels like an eternity of fire, explosions, and endless waves of zombies, the battlefield is finally quiet. The Ukrainian soldiers are standing, exhausted, battered, but somehow still standing, and the zombies? Well, they're no longer the unstoppable horde they once were. The final push has worked, but not without cost. The kill zone was a success. The fire trucks created barriers of flames, and the high-voltage wires fried their share of zombies. But it wasn't just technology that made the difference. It was the creativity and resilience of the soldiers who refused to give up. The horde is now smaller, disoriented, and most importantly, contained. But don't be fooled. While the Ukrainian army has bought itself a bit of breathing room, the battle is far from over. The zombies are still out there. The soldiers are tired. They've fought tooth and nail, using every resource at their disposal. But will it be enough to truly survive in the long run? As the dust settles, the soldiers gather, looking at the destruction and the bodies of the fallen. Some are shaken, others relieved. But one thing is certain: Ukraine's army has earned the right to fight another day. The answer to the question, could Ukraine's army survive 100,000 zombies, isn't a simple yes or no. It's a grueling yes, earned with strategies, improvisation, and pure grit. They might not have won the war yet, but they've shown the world what they're capable of against impossible odds. And as for the zombies, well, they'll keep coming. But the Ukrainians now know that with creativity, a little bit of luck, and a whole lot of willpower, anything is possible.